Ingalstown. For 9 years of the fair, it was on Bob Miller's farm. And his granddaughter will be here, who still lives on the farm, and she will tell about the farm and about how even today she and her granddaughter ride the racetrack that the horses used to race on. For those that are unaware of the fair, there were horse races, car races, there were wing walkers that flew over the fair and walked on the wings of planes, and there was judging. The fair was actually started in 1919 when 51 boys from the Lingelstown High School went to State College to learn how to run an agricultural fair. And a gentleman from Derrytown helped pay for that trip. His name was M.S. Hershey. He was known as the Chocolate King. Back in 1920, he started sending his cows from Derry Township to be judged at the fair every year for the 11 years of the fair. So we hope to enlighten the citizens on the history that was in Lower Paxton Township with this yearly fair, which at the time was one of the largest fairs in the state of Pennsylvania. And the governor and assistant governor and other people from the state came and talked at the fair every year. So it should be very interesting for the citizens. Thank you.
Thanks for the job you're doing. I enjoy your Facebook page, bringing back some memories of some of the stuff that you've put on there. So
one of the biggest was a picture that showed up from the police department that showed the 1960 Nova, and we put it up with the current police car.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I found out today that I didn't know is that for the first few years of the Lower Paxton Township Police Department, they drove their own cars because the township couldn't afford them. So the Nova was one of the first police cars that the township owned.
it was fun too, Joe. You had the picture of the police department. I guess it was the late 60s or the early 70s. So it was fun going back there trying to recognize, you know, all of the officers that we knew.
Well, I found a couple more pictures, and one of the officers is named Lindsay.
He probably had a lot more hair back then than what he does now.
Yeah, a little bit. So
We would be
you'll-
most interested in seeing that picture.
Yeah.
yeah, they'll be popping
Be
up.
fine at Rotary.
Yeah, as we go along, these pictures, we're spreading them out and popping up, but we're really trying to get from the citizens more pictures, because there's so much in the township that people are interested in, especially from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. That's where people are still alive that remember those days.
Yeah.
So we've been finding more and more on that.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, they're working very hard. By the way, we do have a subcommittee working on finding the 139 historical buildings in Lower Paxton Township. They have addresses on all of them now, and they're actually researching the history of the deeds. And we'll be submitting to you probably by October, not only that list, but revisions so we can cover all historical buildings in the township and do one of our commitments that we set up in the beginning.
George, when does the next newsletter go out?
We are getting together here shortly to prepare it. It will be the fall newsletter. So.
Okay, so maybe he can put his stuff in the
Absolutely.
winter.
Oh, yeah, I've been in two of them.
Yeah, oh, okay, but the 139, I think that would be very interesting to the residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe for the winter newsletter.
Yeah, we should, in the fall, have all the information, and right now, what we're going to start doing is taking pictures of each location so we can have a catalog,
Oh, very interesting.
so that
Okay.
we have a definite list.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe. We really appreciate the update and the work of the commission. At this point, do board members have any comments?
I just had a couple. I wanted to thank the Shade Tree Commission. Last Tuesday night, they planted a tree outside the lower building here in memory of Greg Schwam. Greg sat on the Planning Commission, or excuse me, the Shade Tree Commission for 11 years, and he had passed away in March. And I wanted to thank Terry Bachnight and the Parks and Recreation for last Friday night for the concert. It was a little warm. We'll be glad to get the cover back next year over top of it. And maybe you were going to say this, Mr. Wolf, but okay, July 22nd, Cars, Cops, and Coffee out at the George Park. It's Sunday from 8 to 11. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Judd, do you have anything? Okay. Mr. Wolf,
Just
who is
to-
still here in the manager's chair.
Still here tonight, yes. And just to add to the activities that Supervisor Lindsay noted, I'd like to remind everybody that the Arts and Parks 5K race, starting from the Friendship Center on Saturday, July 14th. The race begins at 8 a.m. Registration is in advance. This race has been growing in popularity for the last several years, and they're hoping to get 500 runners this year. The race is for a good cause. Proceeds benefit townships, parks, and recreation. So that's Saturday, July 14th, with the race time or walk time beginning at 8 a.m. Summer concert series continues at the Heroes Grove Center in Brightville Park. The next concert will be July 13th with Steve Rudolph, and the next movie will be July 20th, Christmas in July. The movie will be Elf. Of course, movies begin at dusk, and the summer concerts begin at 7 p.m. And then this evening, if we get done on time, we'll all be able to see the Lower Paxton Township fireworks being displayed from Coons Park, and the display will begin at dusk. And that's what I have for this evening.
And would we like to make an introduction?
I was thinking the board might want
The
to.
board might want to do that? Okay.
But if you want me to, I will. but-
We'll ask Mrs. Lengel if she would come up to the podium for a second. As regular viewers of board meetings will know, we have had a retirement in our administrative ranks with the Director of Human Services. And Kay Lengel is our new Director of Human Services and our Human Resources. And yesterday was your first day, right?
It was.
So we welcome you, Kay. She comes to us from Dauphin County. Very familiar with governmental operations. Kay, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. I'm going to enjoy working here.
And thank you, Kay, for living in Lower Paxton Township.
It'll be
Yes.
40 years come November that I've
Great.
lived in Lower Paxton.
Great.
Good township.
Well, it's always great when we find somebody so well qualified who is in our municipality. And of course, human resources is a very important function here. And we're looking forward, Kay, to working with you for many years to come. George is trying to not be working with you for many years to come, and we'll get to that in a couple of weeks here. With that, we've had the manager's report. There is no old business. So that brings us to new business. And Mr. Wolf, a few things you'd like to destroy here.
Yes, board members, we have approximately 3 boxes. These would be file-sized boxes of documents. They're all administrative in nature. One is old litigation on the Paxton Creek TMDL that was issued for phosphorus. We have various salary and benefit surveys that are very old and should have been destroyed a long time ago. We have unsuccessful RFPs for the Village of Lingelstown project. We're not destroying the successful RSP for design services, but we probably had 10 respondents to that request for proposals, and we have a full box of old proposals that we need to destroy. And then there's various memorandums from the township manager that also are nearing 15 years of age and have no more value. So I request that the board's permission to destroy the referenced records.
Okay, we have before us proposed resolution 2018-28 authorizing destruction of the municipal records Mr. Wolf has just specified. Is there a motion to proceed with destruction of those records?
So
Mr.
moved.
Chair.
Oh,
Okay,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I will make a motion as stated.
Okay, Mr. Judd has moved that we adopt resolution 1828. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 2018-28. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? I voted aye as well, so there you have
And I
3.
just always like to point out here that we do these in accordance with state law. This is something that is prescribed, and it's not done just at a whim or anything. It's done the way it's supposed to be done.
And we need file space for Mrs. Lingle and her new position here. So it's very good. We will move to item B under new business. Action on bids for 2018 sanitary sewer cleansing, televising, and testing. I do not see Mr. Weaver.
No, Mr. Weaver, I talked to Bill today and said, why are you coming? Because this is very easy and I can do it. So I told Bill to stay home.
That was nice of you.
It was. I agree. Board members, we've received 5 bids for this particular advertisement for bids for televising and cleaning sanitary sewer lines. Lowest responsible bid and the lowest bid came from Mobile Dredging with a low bid plus a small alternate, which is recommended by staff, in the total amount of $176,587.40. This bid is lower than the engineer's estimate for this work by a little more than $90,000. The bid has been reviewed by staff and township engineer and determined to be complete, and it's staff's recommendation that the board award the bid this evening.
Have we ever used them before?
We have not used this company before. We have met with this company regarding their bid and the fact that it is significantly lower than the engineer's estimate. They're very comfortable with their bid. They believe that they can provide services, and we've obtained a copy of their list of references for sewer work over the last 3 years, and it is 7 pages long, and the type is so small I can hardly read it. They are very well represented in providing these services throughout the East Coast, and we're comfortable they can do this contract.
And GHD recommended them?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions from the board?
So that, they were almost $100,000 lower than
About 90.
what we expected. Is that rare?
It's not rare. It happens. Bids can be, and they can be all over the place. And if you look at the summary sheet, the last page of the memorandum, the high bid amount was a little over $402,000. The low bid was $176,000 when you included the alternate. And then you had 3 around the engineer's estimate. Bids can be all over the place. It depends what a contractor's purpose is. Many times you become the beneficiary of a contractor looking to keep people employed while he's bidding larger jobs. This isn't, for the size of company that Mobile Dredging is, this isn't a large job for them. So.
Okay.
Any public comment or questions? Seeing none, if there are no additional comments or questions, we would entertain a motion to accept the bid from Mobile Dredging and Video Pipe, Inc.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Mobile Dredging Video Piping, Inc. for the cleaning, televising, and testing. The base bid of $165,023, the alternate bid of $11,564.40, for a total bid of $176,587.40.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. The bid is so awarded. Item C, we have action on bids for concrete curb and sidewalk replacement in the BC 5B sanitary sewer mini basin. And Mr. Wolf, I assume you're pinch hitting again.
I am pitching it again, and staff is requesting that the board reject the 2 bids received for the proposed work, specified work. The lowest of the 2 bids was in the amount of $718,200. We have compared that bid to the work that has been performed of similar nature in the past, and we believe that bid is nearly $400,000 more than what we would normally have paid given past history. As a result, staff believes that we need to change our bid specifications somewhat. The bid specifications were written for a 3-year period. We believe our period of time was too long. We want to reduce that to 12 months. We believe we'll get more competitive bids, and we ask the board to reject at this time and authorize rebid.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I saw those numbers, the expense.
It's too much.
Well, it was, yeah, that was way too high,
Way too high.
way too high, yeah.
Any additional board member questions or comments? Any member of the public wish to comment? Okay, therefore, could we have a motion to reject the bids for the concrete curb and sidewalk replacements?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we reject the bids for concrete curb and sidewalk replacement in the 5B sanitary sewer mini basin, with the expectation that the bids will be amended and rebid.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Okay, thank you. That then takes us to subdivision and land development, and we have improvement guarantees, a number of escrows and letters of credit. Mr. Wolf, I assume everything is in order here?
Everything is in order and ready for your action this evening. There are 8 listed improvement guarantees requiring some type of action.
Any questions or comments from the board? Do we have a motion then to approve the improvement guarantees?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we improve the improvement guarantees, 8 that are on our agenda this evening.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that brings us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Madam Treasurer.
I make a motion, we pay the bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have no additional announcements other than the fact that it's only 20 minutes after 7, which should allow everyone plenty of time to get over to Coons Park before dark and hopefully see the wonderful fireworks display that Mr. Minsker has promised us. And we wish everybody a safe and happy Independence Day holiday. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved. Is it seconded? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.